Actually, I still do have to go refill my drink, so I'll be back in 1 minute.
Well, I'm going to get a cup of water then.
It's never going to start.
Nope, we're all just going to keep leaving. Oh, now I got to go do this.
It's just a cycle of never-ending quests for drinks.
I got a Monster, a couple of beef sticks to Nasha, and I think I'll be a little more energetic as it goes on. Eric's exploding shit in his apartment or something. I have no idea what the fuck's going on.
He's using the ice machine to put some ice in his red wine.
Sounds like gunshots.
It is. He's shooting the ice machine.
He's got an ice gun.
He's got an
shoots
ice
icicles. Shoots ice bullets.
Ice bullets.
Meow, meow, meow. Meow, 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 meow.
Okay, I'm back.
Want to ring the bell?
I'm taking it back. I'm taking them all back.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass, and I'm all out of bubblegum.
I'm a lonely rebel. I am the walrus.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to John Hates Movies, the movie review podcast where my friends prevent me from getting huge and instead force me to watch movies.
Looking
It's
swole,
called Swole. Yeah, it's
Oh,
called Swole,
That's
bruh.
right. Swole, bruh.
Swole,
Although I
it's
do
a new
believe-
Pokemon. Swole, bro.
Swole, I think, is a little bit new, isn't it? Like, it had to have happened within the past 5 years?
Yeah.
Yes.
Like past 15, yeah.
Really? Because you'd think they would have mentioned it in this documentary that we watched.
Whoa!
Nah.
But they didn't. So, with us this week, we have... we don't have him.
Oh, that's right. We don't have Chris Arsenault.
That's right. This week, we have Eric Thomas Largent.
Hey, and my middle name this week. Thanks, Tally Ho.
Just threw him off. He couldn't even get the tally-ho out.
You gotta give all of our middle names now.
We have... wait. We have Colin James McMillan.
I am meant for greatness.
We have James Aaron Barrup.
Aaron.
he's not comfortable with his middle name being out there.
We call him Jab for short.
Yep.
Jab.
And I'm your host, Jonathan Michael Barrup.
Whoa!
As you may have heard, we did not have Chris Arsenault, who I have no idea what his middle name is, so I'm going to call him Chris Nancy Arsenault.
No, his middle name is Colin.
Oh.
Are you
Yeah, that's why he hates himself so much.
No.
So wait,
No,
he's Chris
Colin.
Collin. Colin is Colin James.
Yep, and I'm James Eric.
right.
And so you're Eric
No.
Jonathan.
Well, I could be, yeah. Let's just go with it. Yeah. Chris isn't on the episode this week because, like Colin last week, he got hurt having sex.
Yes. This is the only reason anyone is ever missing from this podcast.
Right.
Because we're all out there having so much sexual intercourse with other people besides ourselves.
But Chris's malady didn't come from just doing sex wrong. It's because he has a fetish that involves table saws and his thumb. So, yeah.
I just, when he said I'm going to break one off, I didn't think he meant literally.
I was thinking, now that's penetration.
Whoa, hey. No, see, what I heard happened was that,
I heard from a guy,
I heard from Chris. See, what a lot of people don't know is that Chris has many hobbies, but one of his hobbies is painting. And he's really into, the impressionist and surrealist type of abstractism, impressionist, abstract, painting.
Okay.
And there was like a girl, and he was kind of obsessed with her. And so he cut off his thumb and mailed it to her. Yes. But the thing was that he paints with his non-dominant hand. And so he started painting with his dominant hand after that because he couldn't hold the brush. And everything ended up looking way too good. So it's just a bunch of Thomas Kincaid tripe and everything. And so he started making a lot of money and was happy, and he just couldn't live with that. So he got his thumb back.
Basically, call that the artist's nightmare, I think.
Success.
Being successful from making Claptrap. Yeah.
Yep.
Awful, disgusting, horrible kitsch. The good news though is that while he was at the doctor's office, the doctor had several extra thumbs just sort of lying around in a basket. So he has 2 thumbs on both hands now, and he now has thumbs on his feet as well. So if you hear about like a new superhero around town called the Thumb, or like the Hitcher, or
I really thought you had a destination.
Yeah, I'm like,
nope.
Where's the pun at the end of this?
Like, come on, we're waiting for a
couldn't even
punchline, dude.
Van, go for it, Chris. Or like,
And now he's all
right, I know, come on, just give me something. We took the walk with you.
He wanted to show everybody
it's
his
hard
thumbs.
to make a punchline when you don't have a thumb.
He came to my family's house, and my mom took one look at that thumb and got scared. That's where I thought. I was like, okay.
Forget it.
Okay, John, what did we watch this week?
Well, I'm glad you asked, Eric. We watched John Hates Movies' first ever documentary film, Bigger, Stronger, Faster. Filmmaker Chris Bell points the camera at his brothers and himself, all steroid users, for this provocative examination of sports and competition, starring Chris Bell and his family and directed by Chris Bell.
So, I have a question about that. I was under the impression that Chris Bell himself did not use steroids.
He does not use them. He has tried.
Okay, all right, there we go.
Yep.
So, because that was my confusion with that synopsis, because the most of well, I should say a significant portion of the documentary revolves around him wondering where his place is in this world of giant muscles when he is not a steroid user. Which I thought was very interesting.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot here.
Mm-hmm.
And that is what I found to be so fascinating about this documentary. But who wants to start us off this week?
Who chose Bigger, Stronger, Faster?
I did, but I typically go last. I can certainly go first if you guys want me to.
Yes, I want you to.
I don't want to start.
Okay.
I mean, you could make James start if you want.
I'll go first.
Okay.
I actually was not the person in our household who discovered this movie. It was Millie who discovered it, and she brought it to my attention, and we watched it together, and we were both kind of blown away by it.
I have, you know what, John? I'm going to break in right here because I have a theory as to why Millie loved this movie.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, and it was because there's a character named Stinky in the movie.
Smelly.
Oh, Smelly, I'm sorry. Oh, I ruined it.
It was a valiant effort, Eric. No,
Theory destroyed.
I think Millie just likes to see families get torn apart on TV. That's really what it comes down to. But no, really what it comes down to is that this is my personal favorite type of documentary. In the fact that it raises questions, it is people-centric, so it's focused it tells a bigger picture issue through personal experiences. And while that kind of filter doesn't always work for a lot of people, because a lot of people feel that big picture issues don't need that, quite frankly, emotional manipulation to get you there to where you feel like involved in that. I do like those documentaries that do that. That's a personal taste. And so if you're into that, this is definitely one that if you haven't watched, you should watch. It's not just about steroid use, although that is a huge part of this movie.
It's kind of about America at large.
Yes, it is.
It's about a lot of things, though. Like it's about both steroid use and America, but it's also very intimately about this dude's family. Which is that's pretty brave. And for me, I do like to have a face on an issue. Maybe it is a little bit manipulative. It'll get you in the feels, but I kind of need to know how these facts are affecting people. I need to see it. And one of the things I'll give it back in a second, but I needed to see Smelly's story in this. Honestly, that was kind of the story that I needed to see. Is the guy that uses steroids and he's kind of doing right by it. Like, that's good for his life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's a normal person.
He's completely...
Like, he seems pretty well adjusted.
Yes.
Yep.
And he has a loving family. You know, he's got a beautiful wife and a loving family. He has a career, but, you know, he's got a powerlifting career, and he coaches football. He gives back to the community. Like, Smelly is a fucking stand-up dude, and he is a habitual steroid user.
Mm-hmm.
And I go for it, you know?
Yeah.
Well,
I love no, he's never going back on it again. So are you going back on it? Yeah, I'll probably go back on it. Yeah, I'm going to go back on it.
Yeah.
Maybe not as much, but I'll go back on it.
It's like John with cigarettes.
Yeah.
It
kind of is. I'm not gonna
guys,
lie.
I'm so excited. I'm quitting smoking. 3 months later, guys, I'm just going to smoke. Whatever.
So the difference is that there's definitely been proven ill effects, direct correlation from cigarettes, where this documentary does a very good job of pointing out specifically what we do and do not know about steroid abuse.
Yeah, and they do a good job of like directly comparing it to tobacco use.
Oh, so how about this? Like all the things that are steroids that are legal that you use all the time, like cortisone that you didn't even know is a steroid.
Right.
Like we all hear steroids and just think anabolic steroids. But like there are many different kinds of steroids, many of which we use all the time.
Has anyone ever used an inhaler?
Steroids.
Like for your lungs? That's steroids. Serious.
Yes. So we did learn quite a bit during the watching of this movie, it sounds like. So on that side, you have that. You have a very well put together documentary that is very informative, puts a human face on it, tackles issues. The central focus is steroid use, but it works on many different levels. You get the very micro level, which is his family. You get the higher level, which is steroid use. You get the top level, which this is why I always go last, by the way. You get the top level where it talks about just how America handles this sort of stuff, and even kind of touches a little bit on male body image, not too much, but enough to kind of at least acknowledge there's something going on there. So you got all that, and you've got all the learning and the knowledge, but on the other hand, the feels. Oh, the feels. There are going to be parts of this documentary where if you do not, and it is blatant, obvious emotional manipulation. So if you're not into that sort of thing, these parts are going to turn you off. Luckily, there's only about 2 to 3 of them where it's fairly obvious that Chris Bell is like, okay, now's the part of the show where I kick you in the heart and then kick you in the balls.
Yeah. Spoilers. Anytime his mom is on screen.
Yeah, exactly. Or his dad, when his dad said, I fully expect to find him in a ditch.
Oh, man. Yes. His dad's little monologue about his oldest son is absolutely heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Especially the dryness with which he delivers it.
Yeah.
Well, he's not saying it for effect. He's saying it because that's exactly what he thinks.
What you're hearing there is resignation.
Yep.
Yeah.
And he's probably not wrong. That Mike Bell's in trouble. That's a
yes.
It's because he can't get over that he's not Hulk Hogan.
Yep.
Like that's it. He really wants to be Hulk Hogan, and he ain't. And that's it.
When watching this, and I'm going to go a little bit off track here, and then I'm going to hand the reins over to somebody else.
I'll take it next if you don't mind.
Not at all. But first off, I do want to say this is I love this documentary. It may not be necessarily my personal favorite, which is reserved for King of Kong, but it's
a great one.
Yes, but this one is certainly really, really good. It's informative and smart. And smart in a way that you wouldn't expect it from quite literally a bunch of meatheads. So there's that. Now, there's a little aside here that I wanted to address, because in this documentary is a mini documentary that I would love to see expanded. That is the story of Mike Bell. Because, and maybe not just his story, but the context in which a person like him happens. Because Mike Bell, not to get too crazy spoilery because I really want people to watch this, Mike Bell is a person, like Colin said, who has problems. And like Eric said, his problems stem from the fact that he grew up in a time when we were told we could be whatever we wanted to be, no matter what.
and he wanted to be the Moon.
And he wanted to be Hulk Hogan. And
there are as many Hulk Hogans as there are moons of Earth.
And it very obviously destroyed him. And I would love to see that documentary. I would love to see what chasing the dream does to people from all walks of life. You know, whether or not they make it or not, or whether or not they feel that they made it or not. I think to me, that would be a pretty fascinating documentary. So if anybody listens here, or anybody who listens to us makes documentaries, go out and make me that documentary. You can have the idea, you can have the credit, because it's going to be a hit. I guarantee it.
The payoff will be getting to see it.
Yeah, exactly. The payoff will be getting to see it. And you got to have one totally clueless actor in there, like just totally fucking clueless, who is happy as hell and thinks that he's made it, even though he's like a total wreck.
Oh my god!
Yeah, who the hell are you?
I'm not talking about anybody specific.
Okay, if you're not talking about anybody specifically, then that's fine. But if you were talking about somebody that we all know, then you know,
right?
Somebody that me, John, and James all know and might be talking to.
No, Colin is done with
it.
No, all right.
I wouldn't be doing this show at the Renaissance Festival if I didn't know that it was a sure thing. Come on, it's my time, guys. Get on board or get off.
You're just you're going to the Renaissance Festival and you're just like, because just in the street here nobody's going to recognize you and like give you a job, but there maybe somebody will see you and be like, I need to put that guy in a picture.
Yeah, right, exactly.
That's right. Because
it's almost verbatim a line from the movie that we are reviewing right now.
Yeah.
Correct.
I would also, you know what I'd like to see, like to springboard off your Mike Bell documentary. I'd actually like to see a documentary, and there might already be one about jobbers in wrestling, because that's what Mike Bell was for a short amount of time. He's the guy that comes and fights the superstar and gets his ass whooped, so he makes the actual important wrestlers look like badasses.
Yep.
Anybody that's ever watched wrestling knows there's always some chump dude that has to wrestle somebody famous, and it's no surprises ever. But like Mike Bell got to do that for a while, and that's actually pretty legit. Like
there's some wonderful video of him getting like what.
It wasn't he fighting like Ultimate Warrior or somebody?
He fought the Undertaker, which
that's
like
what it is.
Like
that's
he got put in a body bag by the Undertaker. Like that's pretty cool.
Oh, guys, guys,
what?
I just wikied him.
What? Oh, did he die?
He was found dead at a rehab facility in Costa Mesa.
See, now we're gonna get to the part that I want to talk about. Okay, well, Colin, you better get through your part quick, because now I'm ready to talk.
You know what? Let's come back to me later. Okay. You go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So one of the biggest problems I had with this documentary, so first off, all the knowledge about steroids and like its effect on sports and like its effect on people's bodies and its cultural impact, I knew all that already. I'm an avid sports fan. I know all about steroids. I know everything it does. I have friends that have done steroids. I have family members that have done steroids. I know about steroids. Like all that stuff was just like, okay, let's get on with it. Because the part of this movie that I was most interested in, and the only part that was really going to tell me something that I didn't know, was about the Bell family. And there was this arc throughout the entire movie where he's talking about his older brother and how he's just chasing this dream. And like this movie, and I remember stopping the movie to get up and use the bathroom after about an hour and 10 minutes. And I'm like, okay, now it's time for you to get somewhere with this. And in the movie, he never did. But what I was expecting to happen was that his older brother was going to die. And that's what was really going to like drive the point home about this stuff. And apparently it happened in real life. So, John, what did you read?
Well, there's not much on Mike Bell, quite frankly. His role in the film.
I think that would make him very sad.
Yep, his role in the film and basically his wrestling career, like a small little highlight. The film.
Wow,
the
man,
film came out.
His dad called it very close.
The film came out a month after. Its world premiere was a month after the death of of Mike Bell.
Whoa! So he decided to release it and not mention the death. Like, so Chris
in
Bell,
loving memory of,
or like, or even just like it would have changed the entire tone if at the end he'd have been like, "Oh, P.S. my brother died." That would have been insane.
Yeah.
Whoa!
Wow.
He chose not to do it because it's not anywhere. They didn't even flash the black text.
No, and
which is interesting because you talk about emotional manipulation, and that just shows you that actually Chris Bell ultimately is not dedicated to manipulating the audience. Because if he really was, that text
what that showed is that Chris Bell was comfortable with the story that he had told and didn't want to add on some tragedy to sensationalize it.
Yes. I was also really fascinated by Mike Bell and his sort of the tragedy that is his life, which is all, I mean, even not knowing that he had passed away, it's like his life is only tragic because he fails to see that he actually has it very good.
Yeah.
I mean, and Chris Bell and their old man both talk about how, he's working, he's got he has this gorgeous, sweet wife, and like he has a totally respectable, wonderful life that a normal person would feel good about.
Yeah, like doing taxes for wrestlers because he knows both sides of that business.
Dude, that's kind of cool.
Yes,
that was actually really cool. You could very well be.
Sweet.
Yeah.
I mean, if he built up a big of enough network and let that be his dream, doing taxes, he could be the taxes wrestler guy, and he would have made like just a ton of money out of Hulk Hogan alone.
Serious bank. Well, at this point in time, we're probably talking more about John Cena, but like,
right?
Okay, but the big guys. It doesn't matter who it is. But like once a year, he gets to hang out with the big guys, his heroes. They all know his name. He's gonna go get to be ringside probably whenever he wants. Like, and he makes bank. That is a fucking great life.
Yes, it is.
And there's my little opening quote of this evening's podcast was the thing that stuck out to me scarily that came out of Mike Bell's mouth when Chris asks him, what's wrong with being normal? My words, and he says, I was meant for greatness.
Oh,
oh,
that's such a killer.
Yes, and especially I had a friend who used that phrase. He would say that he was destined for greatness, and he would ask people, like when he was getting to know a girl or whatever, he would always be like, when was the first time in your life that you knew that you were destined for greatness? And like this was this guy's thing, and like, we're in our early 20s at the time, so whatever, we're all a bunch of fucking losers. Like, and he would get drunk at parties and stuff. And like, there was one time when he was so drunk that he was like, literally, I mean, he's painting the walls of the host's bathroom with his vomit, and he's like, this poor random girl at the party is just cradling him, and he's rocking back and forth, talking about how shitty his life is, and his capstone of this whole sobbing spiel about never finding true love and never amounting to anything, and he's going, and the worst part is, I know in my heart I'm not destined for greatness. Well, you laugh, but I mean,
no, like, that's him like being like reconciling himself with himself. Like,
maybe getting real for the first time in his life, and looking. Okay, so again, we were in our early 20s at this time. Now this dude like has a full-time job, and he's doing all right.
Wait, was it me?
No, this was not you.
Okay,
this was not you, but it is someone you know, and we'll leave it at that. This guy made it out okay, and much like many people. Much like Mike Bell, he actually did way better than a lot of people who are trying to do anything cool with their life ever do. This dude produced his own play. Like he ended up with a degree in his field, and he's working full time, and he's doing fine. Like he did well. So to hear somebody who's like pushing 40 say, I'm meant for greatness.
Yeah, and like with no shred of self-awareness whatsoever.
Yeah. Like he still really, he believes he believes the lyrics to that song. You know, like, he really thinks that he has some special destiny. And this may sound fatalistic for me to say this, my friends, but nobody is destined for anything. There's only one thing we're all destined for, and that's the fucking dirt.
That's true.
Yep.
Like, you out there, faithful John Hates Movies listener, let me tell you something and take this to heart. You are not destined for anything. You will be crafted by your choices and your influences. That is it. Mike Bell could have trained, even though, after he gave up the tax accountant to the stars gig, which was going to be sweet, he could have trained the next John Cena or Bret the Hitman Hart or Hulk Hogan. He could have trained one of the greats and had his name on a champion.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And because he thought that he was special, instead he died in rehab.
Yep.
Because he couldn't take a good look at how great his life was, like what he had in his hands. Now,
crazy.
That's it. I know. Sorry, we're getting.
I know. I'm there
it's...
too. Like, that's the story here. Like, that's what happened. You know, like the story that we kind of all just like learned it on the spot, and it's pretty heavy. But
it's
like
heavy.
that's what happened.
You
know, and you know, like, I don't have any illusions here. Like, I think all four of us have at one point, like, tried and shit, we're doing it right now. Like, we all have tried things creatively that have, like, we've been like, you know, we could do something great here, you know, like me and James have been in like each 5 bands a piece, and
Colin's been in band shows.
John's drawn comics, you know, like, we're all doing stuff that, like, we want to become great for, but at a certain point you realize, well, why don't we just produce a weekly podcast that has a few has a few followers, and we can let our creative juices out that way. Eventually you reconcile that you were not destined for greatness. None of us are, but you can do what you can do with the time you have, you know?
Yeah, and there is greatness in doing normal things.
Yes.
Like, there's, you go to work every day and you raise a family, there is greatness there. And you can pass on something very valuable to the next generation, and they can affect generations thereafter, and your legacy can make an impact on the world just by raising a family.
Yeah.
Or, you know, maybe it is creating a piece of art or starting a business or anything, but you don't have to be the moon. Right? You know, you can live here on Earth and do something really great for the world by just living a responsible life, or you know, being a good influence on the people around you, or loving people, or whatever. You know, by doing some good, you can do great.
Mm-hmm.
And it's such a shame that this guy couldn't figure this out, and like, so to bring it back a little bit more, let's bring it back. I did really, really enjoy Stronger, Faster, Better, Bigger, Stronger, Faster. Excuse me. It is a quality documentary, and probably in my top 5. I'd say my ties for number 1 are probably also King of Kong, like John, and Grizzly Man. Jiro Dreams of Sushi, and I just lost it. The Rock of Fire Explosion.
Definitely one of my favorites.
Those 4 and this one are probably my top 5 docs. Really enjoyable, and if you're not a documentary watcher, there's some very, very good watching out there. Give some documentaries a try, because they're not just like talking heads spewing information. Sometimes you get
not just a classroom thing.
But you will learn a lot. But some of these are like Jiro Dreams of Sushi is absolutely fascinating, and it's just about a guy running a sushi joint. Like, that's all it is. It's that one kind of blew me away too. This movie though, Bigger, Stronger, Faster. I always just want to spew out 3 adjectives, like, you know, larger, wider, huger. This made me feel actually a lot better. I was lifting for a while.
Do you even lift, bro?
Bro, I even lifted.
Okay.
So, you know, we had a weight set in the basement, and you know, I was lifting like 3 or 4 days a week for a solid year or more. And, you know, I I got in really good shape, but I will admit that I sort of kind of bought into the myth of all these movies and wrestlers and sports stars and stuff that they display in this documentary. And like watching this, I'm like, well, of course I didn't look like that. I wasn't on steroids. I mean, and I looked pretty good, but now I'm a pretty slight guy for people who know me personally. I'm fairly thin. So I was never going to look like any of the Bell brothers. These dudes are just gigantically huge. Even Chris Bell, who is a fairly small guy and not a habitual steroid user, he is also huge. And like looking at his body in this movie where he is obviously very muscled, but he doesn't really have any of the cut lines. And this is a guy that works out all the time. It's like, you don't get those veins and six packs and cut lines without juicing, basically.
Or there are people that have that just because of genetics.
Yes, physiology. All right, so I also just want to point out that Chris Bell, the smallest of the Bell brothers, the one that Smelly sort of teases about being a little weakling, can still bench 500 pounds.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yes.
But
the most I've ever benched is half that.
I can't even bench my own body weight.
That's pretty damn impressive.
I didn't even get up to 200 on my bench when I was lifting all the time because I wasn't powerlifting.
No, if you can bench your own weight,
that's as
you're
far
good.
as I got.
You're healthy.
That's as well as I did.
That.
Well,
I never got there either.
Work out
I've
all the
lived
time
my
to get
life there. Hooray for me.
Okay, but seriously, let's talk about the real star of this movie. And that star is Muscle Cow. I mean, you see,
was it like the Hungarian bullshit or whatever?
It's the
what
Belgian Blue Bull, baby.
Okay.
And there's a lot of really impressive musculature in this movie. A lot of beefcakes going on. But when you get to Muscle Cow, like, I'm not kidding. I was in awe. I didn't watch this movie twice, but I watched that part twice. I was transfixed by Muscle Cow. Like, I couldn't believe it. It's like the Incredible Hulk, but a cow. A perfectly mild-mannered, nice-looking cow, too. He seems to be pretty friendly.
The Incredible Milk?
Incredible Milk.
Colin, was this your first exposure to the, what was it, the Belgian Blue
Bull? The Belgian
was this
Blue
the
Bull.
first time you had ever seen one of those?
Yes, this was my first exposure to Muscle Cow.
Okay, yeah.
I was very
That's
intimidated.
A thing. Those are a thing.
Yeah, Muscle Cow. Muscle Cow is beautiful. Like, I was.
I wouldn't go that far. Muscle Cow is.
No, I will.
It looks
I'll
a little weird.
I'm going to go for it. Oh yeah, definitely. But I mean, it's sort of like a Greek sculpture or something. Like, it's the most awe-inspiring bovine I have ever laid eyes on, and I was really like, wow, Muscle Cow. I was like, I went immediately to Facebook and had to tell the world. I was like, holy shit.
Oh, you know what you did, and I had no fucking clue what you were talking about until I watched this movie last night. But like all of a sudden, as of like 3 days ago, Colin became obsessed with this word Muscle Cow.
Which, by the way, if you Google the word Muscle Cow, one word, no spaces, as I have been posting it all over Facebook, Belgian Blue Bull immediately comes up. I literally Googled my own word that I thought I'd made up. I Googled Muscle Cow, and that, probably the actual same cow that is in this movie pops right up. And so it is also impossible to find any pictures of the Belgian Blue Bull other than the one that I posted on my Facebook, where it's not like also obvious cow cock hanging there, like, in addition to being muscled like a Hulk, this thing is hung you wouldn't believe.
The unit is a muscle, so you'd think.
Yeah, clearly.
Right? I mean...
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, I didn't think of that.
Did you just Google it? It's like all cow balls. And so I was like looking, so I wanted to post a picture of Muscle Cow to share Muscle Cow with the world, but I couldn't find one that wasn't like all cow dong. And I felt like I was going to get banned from Facebook for posting lewd pictures because Muscle Cow is so hung that you cannot hide it. it's pretty rough. It's very intimidating. Like,
too hung for Facebook.
Muscle cow. Oh, I love muscle cow.
Good gravy.
So, just sum up, I loved this documentary. I admire Chris Bell for turning the camera on his personal life and giving a pretty factual, unapologetic look at things. I learned a lot and was very entertained. I highly recommend it.
So who wants to go next? Eric?
Yeah, I can go next. So I talked a bit about what I, wanted to bring up during Colin's review, because the biggest letdown for me in this movie is that it didn't put any closure on the Bell family story, but we just got some closure during the episode. But like that was the Bell family story was the most interesting part of the documentary to me. This wouldn't be in my top 5 documentaries, mostly because it told me a lot of what I already knew going in. Like, all this baseball stuff, even the like Henry Waxman hearings and like seeing how much of a dope Henry Waxman is in real life, like that kind of wasn't surprising because I had seen a lot of that before. Which, like, Henry Waxman is a dope. Like, it's kind of, he did not acquit himself very well in this documentary. And and really, our Vice President Joe Biden didn't acquit himself very well either, because like there are a bunch of quotes where Joe Biden's going, "Look, I felt like I was a great athlete when I was a young man, but I did everything fairly, and you guys aren't doing it fair, so you guys beat me out." No, Joe Biden, steroids don't make you hit a fastball. We saw, and I guess I'm talking in circles here, but I'm eventually gonna reach my destination, because I had already seen stuff about Bicep Man, and whatever the fuck that guy's name was, he's a fucking weirdo.
Yes, he is.
But Bicep Man, ESPN had done a little vignette on him, and a part of that vignette was him, just doing curls, because really he does curls 10 out of the 16 waking hours of the day. But the other part was him going to his son's baseball game, getting hit by a foul ball on his bicep, a vein rupturing in his bicep.
Oh my God.
I'm serious. This is real. Like, you can go out and watch this. And him having to syringe excess blood out of the ruptured vein in his bicep. Like, it's insane and gross. Like, I knew about this guy. And this movie didn't even get into the worst about him.
Didn't they make a documentary about him called "The Man Whose Arms Exploded"?
Okay,
is that a joke, James?
No, I'm serious.
You know what? That could be true. I'm not sure. I either saw that or I saw this all on ESPN. I don't know. But I've known multiple people in my personal life that have used steroids. 2 of them recreationally, 1 of them for medical reasons. The person that used them for medical reasons, it almost definitely saved their life. They were having extreme respiratory issues during adolescence, took inhalant steroids, it fixed their lungs, and now they are running marathons because they have the lung strength of a normal human, or maybe a more normal human. They're not taking steroids anymore, but steroids solved the lung problem for them. And then I have a couple of other friends, and James knows one of them, who started taking steroids because of one of the issues that they brought up in this movie, and Colin already mentioned it, the male body image issue. Sometimes really skinny dudes wish that they were yoked, so they start taking steroids. And spoiler alert, you can get yoked if you start taking steroids. So, there are some people that are taking steroids for just because they're not power lifters like Smelly or Stinky or whatever his name was. He's not a cat. I get it. Smelly. Okay. Mm-hmm. They're not taking steroids to do something. They're just taking steroids to look and feel better about themselves. And one of the things they tackle in this movie is that steroids, if you're if you're a good guy before taking steroids, you'll just be more of a good guy after taking steroids. But if you're a little bit of an asshole before taking steroids, you're going to be a fucking raging asshole after taking steroids. And I had a friend who was a little bit of an asshole before taking steroids turned into an absolute motherfucker. Like, and would just like, and he really did get roid rage. He really did get testicular atrophy. He really did have hormone cycles like somebody that was on menopause. Like, he went fucking insane after taking steroids. And I saw that firsthand and decided that I never have to do that. Like,
well, also though, like related to that though, skinny guys who bulk up become assholes.
Oh.
Like, that's a thing. Like, the skinny dude that suddenly, like, is, like, the late bloomer that became hot later, there is definitely a serious asshole period where, like, they are super insecure and they need their asses kissed all the time. They have to have the attention of every girl. Like, this is a thing, and it's a shame because skinny, dopey, wallflower dudes, when they become hot later or get swole, do this, and it's super fucking annoying.
Yep, you're describing the guy I know to a T. So yeah, it's like, so another part of my experience of this movie was from the perspective of someone, so I've tried weed a couple times. I know, it's crazy. It's crazy. I know, that's crazy. It's mind blowing. I tried it a couple times. I took one Vicodin pill when I got my wisdom teeth out. Decided that it was garbage and never took it again. Like, but other than those isolated incidences, the hardest thing I've ever done is ibuprofen. I am not a fan of medication or pills or any of that. And like, so like the whole argument that,
well, you just haven't met the right pill yet, Eric.
Right. So, but like one of the cool things they did in this movie is they made a really good, Chris Bell showed a really cool juxtaposition between athletes taking steroids as performance enhancing drugs and things like cellists taking beta blockers as anti-anxiety
that was
stuff.
So awesome.
Like porn stars injecting liquid Viagra in their unit.
Viagra into their unit.
Yep.
Whoa. Like, thank you for bringing that up. That was so awesome.
It's a really cool juxtaposition. And so the only reason why Joe Biden and Henry Waxman have such a hard-on for why it's wrong in baseball, and I'm going to bring this back around to baseball, obviously. The reason steroids are wrong in baseball, and I think they are, is because, first off, baseball's heritage has to do with statistics. Like, statistics and numbers and how many of this that somebody did is a big deal in baseball. It will always be. It really is. It's just a part of it. And the idea that they did it fairly and you didn't is a problem. And the other thing, and Joe Biden kind of brought it up, is Joe Biden brought it up like he was the fifth member of the podcast this week. I need Joe Biden to show up and like whisper in Colin's ear real quick, really creepy.
Oh, rub my shoulders, Joe. Joe Biden's massages are legendary.
But Joe Biden talked about how the corruption of the integrity of baseball is akin to the corruption of the integrity of American society and like the American ideal. Using steroids in baseball is like all of a sudden not putting apples in apple pie. Like, it's that kind of a thing. It doesn't have as much to do with, okay, you can use nicotine, which is a stimulant, but you can't use amphetamines, which are a stimulant. You can use, your hyperbaric chamber to regain your red blood cells, but you can't, blood dope to regain your red blood cells. Like, it's this kind of silly, arbitrary fine line that people walk between cheating and not cheating in sports, and cheating at something that is very American, like baseball, chafes at American culture. And this movie did a good job of portraying that. Other than that, I think that's about all I had to say about the movie. The Bell family story is really what's interesting about this movie, and I recommend that people watch it. And if you're listening to this podcast before watching the movie, you'll have that, you'll have what we're talking about in your head when you're watching it, and it will mean more to you when you watch it.
Hey, can I add to what you're saying about the whole, like, why Congress gives a shit
Absolutely.
about steroids in baseball? One of the things about that I think is, like, if athletes are juicing, and that's why they're all fucking, cracking dingers out of the park, that sort of dispels the great American myth that if I can do it, anybody can do it.
Absolutely.
Which, I'm pretty cynical about this. Nobody does it without help. This whole the whole bootstrapping thing that Americans really grab onto, where we look at a homeless person or a drug addict.
Well, you just need to work harder.
We say, oh yeah, you gotta
yeah, no, that's bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
It's absolute bullshit. And if we acknowledge that when we're putting on the show of athleticism, it's a show, and part of that is the special effects of anabolic steroids.
So that brings us to James.
Yes.
James, have you been converted to the Church of the Juice like the rest of us?
I kind of want to use anabolic steroids and get swole. I'm serious. Not even kidding.
Well, they showed you in that movie specifically how to do it in a legal fashion. So, James.
So first I need to say,
oh boy,
when you are the moon and you don't have a mirror, so you have to, if you want to look at your face, you have to look in the little rivers. I had a look in there. I'm flipping beautiful. I'm all handsome. On the moon.
What was that, some Mighty Boosh shit?
Yeah.
I'm all great.
On the
moon. I'm a wizard.
So James watched the Mighty Boosh, apparently.
Yeah.
Mightier Boosher and Moonier.
Yeah. No, I was just when you guys were all talking about him being the moon.
Yeah.
All right, bunch of things that I was thinking about when I was watching this movie, and I Googled while you guys were talking. As for the muscle cow, there is
muscle cow.
I read an article on Cracked a few years ago, and there is actually a human baby with the same genetic mutation.
You're kidding me?
No, and he was born in 1999 in Germany, and yes, like all the things that you would imagine that would come from excessive muscle growth are in this kid. Like, he can already lift like 3 times his own body weight.
Muscle baby?
Muscle baby, yes.
Wow.
And he apparently can eat like up to 6,000 calories a day.
Wow.
His body just chews up fat. He can't keep fat on his body.
Muscle baby is 16 right now.
Yep. And apparently his heart is amazing, and they're wondering if this kid will possibly live to 190 years old.
Wow. I
really?
Hope he does.
Yeah.
So, does Muscle Baby look weird?
There's not many pictures of him because there's German secrecy laws and all that stuff, German privacy laws about him, so until he turns 18, we'll probably never know.
There you go, yeah. Because, until he has agency to decide whether or not he wants to release pictures of himself.
Honestly, my heart must be made of, like, rocks, because I just really didn't feel the feels in watching this movie. It didn't really get to me that much, no.
Not even when the mom started tearing up and asking what she did wrong? Because that certainly hit home with me.
I understand where she's coming from, but at the same time, I'm like, that type of illogical thinking bothers me.
We do comics, not steroids!
Yeah, I know.
I thought that she was a pretty good mom for the most part.
Yeah.
Except for there's one moment where I was sort of like, eh. That was like when they're all sitting at the table and Chris Bell's talking about not doing steroids, and she goes, "Well, that's because you're a good boy."
Oh yeah.
And I was sort of like, Ma.
Yeah. What are you saying about your other kids? Come on.
Yeah,
right.
She knew exactly what she was doing, and she talked about that earlier in the movie when she was like, "Look, you were the littlest, and I always tried to give you extra attention."
Yeah.
Well, the one that she gave extra attention to turned out to be the most well-adjusted one of all of them.
Yeah, that's
That
true.
is
Well,
true.
I'm not sure about that. I mean, Smelly's pretty well adjusted. He's just juicing.
Yes, he is. But Chris Bell made a good documentary. Like, you know.
Well, and let's be serious. Chris Bell is like all heart. He's like the Rudy of the lifting world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I very much like Chris Bell coming out of this movie. Like he's a very legit guy.
That's a perfect description, Colin. That is a perfect description.
He's
of
the
Rudy
Rudy of the powerlifting world. He can only lift 500 pounds, but he's all heart.
Yeah. It's like, during that part, I mean, I'm interested in why people are the way they are and what makes a person a certain way or what, shapes their desires and stuff. So when she's like, I just want to know if there's nothing I did, blah, blah, blah. I understand where she's coming from, but she's completely wrong with that because it's not about her doing this or that or the other thing so much as it is everybody in their lives saying, like making fun of them because they're all fat,
Yep.
They just didn't want to get made fun of anymore, so they fucking lifted.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's the entire reason why they are the way they are. Also, I mean, she drank society's Kool-Aid. I mean, the kids did when they were young, but she did as well with this whole steroids or, blah, blah, blah. And honestly, I never thought about it until I watched this movie either. But, well, I looked, I have looked into steroids, but I never really...
have you now?
Yeah, I'll get into that later. But It's like just her whole thing of like, did I do anything? And you're doing steroids and that's bad, so I feel awful because drugs are bad. Okay, that whole type of mentality. I can't relate to it in the slightest way. However, it was kind of, although it was an awful moment, it was such a. I learned it from you, Dad. When he's like, well, where did you think he got the steroids? He got it from your brother.
Yeah.
And her entire worldview just crashed down at that moment,
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What a moment.
Yeah.
That was insane.
And honestly, when I see something like that, I actually get hopeful. I don't necessarily get, sad for her, but I get hopeful because that wall was broken. She had a wall around her brain that prevented new knowledge from coming in.
Yeah.
And that wall just crumbled at that point. Because she had to accept it was just like when, it's like, well, your brother's gay. Oh, shit. Everything makes sense now. What the fuck?
Well, yeah, it's like you need to know, Mom, that this is the way the world works. Like, your brother, the bodybuilder who's cut, that's fucking steroids, Mom.
Yep.
It's not like he magically just, he really wanted it.
Yeah.
He's fucking juicing. Of course he is.
Now, before everybody who listens to this podcast is all like, holy shit, I gotta get me some steroids.
Yeah, don't do anything illegal. That's stupid.
Yeah, don't do anything illegal. And also remember, and this is the reason that I've never used steroids, is because I have seen people who have taken it and not worked out, and you just get really
it's
fat.
just like protein shakes.
So very lumpy. Lumpy.
Yeah, you have to work out. You can't just take it. It's not. You don't become Captain America. You have to take it.
Also, it's like what Eric was saying. Like, be honest with yourself. If you're kind of an asshole, don't take steroids. You're going to become a real asshole. Don't do it. And if you know yourself, get real. Do you have a substance problem? Do not use steroids. If you're a power lifter, you probably should juice. Let's be serious.
Let's be real.
If you want to compete,
if you're a professional sports ball player, juice
or
the fuck up.
live in a fucking. I swear, man, I need that hypertonic melon tamer that the bike rider has.
It was a high altitude chamber.
Such a dork.
It's the opposite of a hyperbaric chamber, which you're referencing and I talked about before. But yeah, that makes more red blood cells in your body so you can recover faster.
Yeah, because I've always had an issue with stamina, and it's for me like I've not only have I hated running and I've gotten better with my stamina as I've gotten older, which is contrary to what people tell you should happen. But yeah, it's now I don't run because I hate it because it's fucking boring as shit. Yeah, like when I was younger and in high school, I couldn't run for long periods of time. I loved sprinting, but running, like, you know, in track and stuff like that, fuck, I hated it. It just tore everything up inside. Like it was a pain in my lungs and my guts, and it was never my legs or my arms or any of that stuff. It was just all inside. But yeah, I mean, I would love that chamber. It would just be nice for my stamina. And honestly, okay, so like I said, there was a certain point in my life when I realized Dare and all that was all bullshit, and a lot of the stuff that I was taught about drugs was
the first time I tried weed. I realized Dare was total bullshit.
Oh, you mean when you didn't go on a murdering rampage and the police didn't immediately bust into your home and arrest you and throw you in jail for life?
Yeah, I know.
Right.
So yeah, pretty much. You know, hey, I got the internet and I realized that LSD is, in its purest form, completely healthy, and you can take as much of it as you want and it won't do a goddamn thing to you. It might fuck up your brain.
You're a communist.
But, yeah, it won't fuck up your body. But yeah, like, you know, I started studying different drugs and everything, and yeah, I looked into steroids because at a certain point in time, I had always been the skinny dork, never gotten in any, like, you know, like, it was all a matter of, as you guys said, a matter of self-image and like, oh, this girl couldn't possibly be hitting on me because I'm not attractive, you know, or girls don't find me attractive.
You gotta want it, James.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. That was the whole problem.
You gotta want it.
But there was also a moment in my life where I had like this massive what do they call those things? Like I had a makeover from a girlfriend who managed to like completely correct my style and everything and the way I carried myself, and I all of a sudden found all this attention from all these girls that was never there before. And so, yeah, I started looking into that because even though I was like stylistically good, you know, hey, I wasn't getting all the attention from all the women. So, you know, let's make everything perfect.
Why settle for stylish when one can be swole?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yes.
So I looked into it, and pretty much they said, like, you know, on the very honest forum for like, you know, that was talking about various drugs to use and everything, said, first, make sure that your workout routine is fucking perfect. Make sure you're doing everything that you possibly can. Like, if you're lifting every day and your gains have plateaued and everything that you're tracking is at a complete standstill, then you can consider steroids if you're not at a point where you want to be. And I said, I took one look at that and I went, yeah, fuck that.
Yeah.
Because I was working out once a day and fuck one day a week, and I wasn't going to do more.
Right. Yeah.
Yes, you need to work out more than one day a week if you're going to use steroids.
Yeah, I pretty much was real with myself.
Otherwise you're gonna turn into
I was real with myself in that moment, and I realized that I was...
The grimace.
So pretty much, yeah, I was real with myself, and I said that I am not responsible enough to work out to the point where I would need steroids. So I just didn't, and it wasn't like, you know, honestly, yeah, if you make the change too quick, you will become an asshole. And it took me, you know, a couple of years of getting used to the new attention and everything, and becoming a decent person again after that, you know?
You know, it's so funny when the process happens in reverse. It's like almost a complete different experience.
It is a shock when it happens.
When you go from being a jerk to being a nice guy, John?
No. I mean, yes, it is. I am making in reference to myself. Okay. Because when I was young, I was at, 16, I was very attractive. And I got a lot of attention, and I knew exactly what to do with it. And now that I'm older and I'm frumpier and I've gained a lot of weight, I am 8 billion times nicer and 8 billion times happier. And I look back on that dickhead that I was when I was like 16, 17, 18, all the way to my early 20s. And if that was my kid, I'd smack his shit up and down the street so fucking hard.
Yeah.
You know what? You were always a pretty cool guy.
Oh, thanks, Colin.
Yeah, I think I could have turned out much worse because it is a shock. But yeah,
And if my track record will tell you anything, it's that I'm an excellent judge of character.
Your compliments mean nothing.
Oh no!
So the thing is that, you know, after learning more about steroids from this, I think I personally have always been of the opinion that all drugs, no matter what, should be illegal. As long as the information is out there about what it does to you and all that stuff, as long as you can be informed about what the side effects of the drugs are, yeah, whatever.
I agree with that.
Did you say they should be legal?
Yes. Yeah, he said legal.
L-E-G-A-L.
I thought you said illegal.
No,
I was like,
no.
James,
But this movie brings up a very interesting catch-22. When a drug like anabolic steroids is classified, it greatly restricts the data set. He said it in his documentary several times. All the doctors in the documentary said it several times. We do not have the data to know what these things do to people long term.
Which is probably the biggest failing.
Yeah.
Yep. And I've also thought about going into the supplement industry. After seeing what he did, I'm really thinking about it.
Oh, man, what a racket.
I know, right?
That was pretty funny.
Such a good racket. Oh, my God, that's wonderful. And I think, man, it's so...
Fill a pill with sawdust, take a picture of a hot person, and you are making money.
Well, and you don't even really have to take a picture of a hot person. You just have to take you have to be good at Photoshop.
You don't even need a picture. You just need to sell a bottle of stuff and say, this will help, you know, boost immune system. And
yeah, because if it's 20 cents cheaper than the bottle with the picture of the hot person on it, they're probably going to buy it.
Exactly. And all that's non-regulated, so fuck it.
Right? Unbelievable.
And so it's really sad that it's upsetting that Mike Bell is dead. Because I actually wasn't expecting that. As soon as because I thought a lot about him and his career after that. I understand completely I understand that desire he has. The truth is, though, is that, you know, he did need to be real with himself completely because he wanted it. He wanted his cake and to eat it too. He wanted both, like the best of both worlds. And it's like, either you settle down with a wife and you do that, or you're a rock star. One or the other. Yeah. You can't fucking do both.
And some people are not rock stars.
Exactly.
Like, they're just not.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you know, he either lives like that guy with the van. I mean, that guy, for as sad as he is, he's doing it right.
He was doing it righter than Mike Bell.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You either go for the dream and or bust, or you live a life with a wife and a kick-ass tax business and just enjoy it. You know?
Right.
God, man, I want that kick-ass tax business, though. How cool would that fucking be?
You're Hulk Hogan's accountant.
Oh, that would just fucking rock. Yeah. I mean, seriously, I could work
maybe
for
not Hulk Hogan's today.
Well, it's upsetting too.
Dude, Hulk has a lot of money. His name is a brand, and his family
not anymore.
Yeah, but he's not going to be making much more anymore.
Like, how's my retirement look, brother?
Yeah. All right, well, thanks very much, James. So everybody knows what time it is. It is time for a break, and then we are going to be coming back with the game.
Yay!
Are people taking you too seriously at work? Are all your conversations bland and tasteless? Do people run away when you approach the water cooler? Just get yourself a Tally-Ho mug from the John Hates Movies store, and people will instantly recognize that you are one badass dude. Tally-Ho is copyright Eric Largent 2015. All others saying Tally-Ho are imitating Eric Largent. Do not make Tally-Ho your thing. That is Eric's thing. But please buy a mug. Get yours today!
Are you guys ready for the game?
Yes.
Okay. So, this week's game is going to probably gross me out, because the site I'm pulling off the information has all sorts of interesting medical pictures. And the reason is, this week's game is that drug. What does it do?
Yeah, I'm gonna win.
I'm excited.
It cures rectal froggling.
Rectal froggling.
So, here's how this one is going to work. It's going to be King of the Hills rules. There are going to be 10 questions.
What now?
Yes, and the person who is basically, when you get a drug correct, you are the king of the hill, or in that case, the king of the drug. The next person to get the next person to get it right knocks you off, or you just stay up there. So if and that includes, so if Eric, you go first, you get your very first one right, and you never get another one right again, and nobody else does, then you win the game.
Yeah, that's right. That's how it's going to go, too. I can feel it.
Alrighty. So how this is going to work is we're going to start just kind of round robbing it. We're going to go up to 10, and you guys are going to pick a letter. I am going to pick a drug, and then you are going to tell me what it does. You get to become king for correct answers, and if it really cracks my shit up, you can become king for just total absolute fucking nonsense. But I mean, it really has to crack my shit up. Rectal froggling is probably not a good choice.
Okay, so rectal froggling is awesome. A, so what you're saying is you give us a drug and we try to tell you what it does.
Yep.
And if we either get it right or make you laugh, we are king of the hill until somebody else deposes us.
That's right.
Okay.
Whoever's king at the end wins.
Whoever's king at the end wins. Here we go. Let's start with Eric. Eric, pick a letter.
All right, I'm going to pick E for Eric, you know?
Yeah, completely.
What an asshole.
Yeah, that's right. Colin, I've been taking steroids. I've been becoming more and more of an asshole.
He's more of an Eric.
Okay, and it's Eric.
Yes.
Your drug is Effiant.
Effiant?
Mm-hmm.
Is that the drug name or the commercial name?
These are going to be commercial names.
Okay.
Solo friend.
Right. Oh boy. Okay. I think Effiant probably is like when Effiant is for when you can't find your keys and you need and it's like a chronic disorder, like no matter what you do you can't find your keys. So you have to take Effiant. Effiant. Find your keys today.
Wow, dude.
That's clever, but not hilarious. No, actually, Effiant is a platelet activation drug. So if you're having trouble creating platelets, Effiant helps you.
Hey, John, I just played out of the John Barrett handbook of game where I looked around the room, saw my car keys, and said a joke.
And it worked about just as well.
Right.
Okay, so Colin.
Yes.
Pick a letter.
Z.
Your Z is Zomeg.
Zomeg. Okay. Well, Zomeg is an experimental drug intended only to be used by cyborgs with rocket boosters in their feet. And what it does is it increases the efficiency of the rocket boosters in the cyborg's feet for a limited time. If you have rocket booster performance issues, Zomeg may be right for you. Consult your doctor about Zomeg.
Okay. No. Zomeg is a nasal spray for people who are suffering allergy problems.
Mine was way better.
Yeah.
That's boring.
Why couldn't you go with Zoloft?
Well, because I think that starts with an X.
No, Zoloft is
kidding.
a Z. Oh, okay.
All right, James.
A.
Okay, Abralex.
Abralex?
Uh-huh.
That's the drug you take when you're too obsessed with Avril Lavigne and you need to stop it because it's fucking 2015.
No! Okay, I'm actually having difficulty figuring out what this particular drug does. Oh! It is a drug for the treatment of prostate cancer.
Oh!
That's close.
I was like, there's just a picture of a penis. What's
it called? What's it called?
Abralex.
Oh,
it's
man.
an injectable suspension.
Wiener!
Okay, so we're back up to Eric. There is no King of the Hill as of yet.
I guess not. Okay. I
like
pick...
when John hosts the game because he's like, no one's good enough. No.
Okay, I will pick the letter D.
All right, the letter D. Desinate. Desinate gel.
Desinate gel?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah, Desinate gel is a topical anti-inflammatory steroid that relieves pain.
You are right. Are you cheating?
No.
Are you taking mind steroids, otherwise
Are
known
you
as the internet?
No. I'm like, I answered that immediately.
Yes, you did.
I knew that one.
You actually know what that is.
Yeah.
Well, fantastic. Eric is king of the hill.
Color me impressed.
Somebody has a prescription for Decimate.
All right. So next is Colin. Colin, give me a letter.
F.
Right. Lucky F. No whammies. Your drug is Factor 9 Complex.
Holy shit! That sounds like the most awesomest drug in the world,
right?
Factor 9. Wait, what is it? The full name?
Factor 9 Complex. Complex is spelled with an X at the end. That's how you know it's extreme.
Oh shit!
Two
Holy
X's.
shit, dude. Holy shit, dude. Okay. In the year 1963, the government started secret development on Factor 9 Complex, a secret drug to develop the ultimate super soldier. Jax Thompson was the first subject to be tested for Factor 9 Complex. He was given superhuman strength, superhuman speed, and the ability to make judgment calls at really fast speeds. Like, you wouldn't believe he knows the answer right away. Wow, he's really on the ball. Anyway. But the government refused to pay for his lunches, so he decided to go rogue. This is his story.
Check.
Okay. All right. Sorry, Eric. You're bumped.
No bullshit! Come on! The Factor 9 Complex is a TV show, really?
Well, you know what? Only because they took his lunch money, and that's what sent it over the edge for me.
The drug, Factor 9 Complex is a fucking TV show. That's why I don't get to pick a movie.
But they took his lunch money.
Come on, that was awesome.
If anybody's interested in what Factor 9 Complex actually does, it's I can't really remember. I lost it here. Hold on. It's a coagulation drug. Okay.
Your mom's a coagulation drug.
All right, James. Give me
W.
A letter. W. Ooh, W.
Oh, just like George W., who was in this movie as a total
James,
fucking hypocrite.
You damn. Dylan, you son of a bitch. There are literally 2 W drugs, and you probably know both of them. Yep, that's one of them. So I'm not going to do that one. I'm going to do the other one. Wellbutrin.
Wellbutrin's an antidepressant.
You are right. Colin, you have been bumped by James.
Wow, that's awful.
That is. Oh, damn it. There's another one.
I worked really hard on making that up on the spot.
Okay.
Can we do it? Can we do at least a fake episode of Factor 9 Complex?
Well, we're also going to go one more full round just to make it fair. There is.
I can't be funny twice, James.
There is one other W besides warfarin and Wellbutrin. And I didn't choose this one because I think the name says it. It's called Y-grain. Can you guess what that treats?
Yeah, migraines.
All right, Eric, pick a letter.
Okay, final.
If you went with any of the others, I wouldn't have gotten it.
I'm gonna go with L.
Right, L. Let's see if he gets lucky as well. No, there is a lot of L's. And
Lipitor.
Lexapoop.
No. The drug is Lockpack. That is Lokpak.
Lackpack?
Lockpack. All right. Lockpack is a lot like Z-Pack, which is azithromycin, which is a antibiotic. So Lockpack is an antibiotic for when you have a chest cold.
No, it is a sodium injection. Low on sodium. Yep. Okay. So, Colin, here is your chance to knock James off.
I'm so sad.
Pick a letter.
B.
B, as in boy?
Correct.
Beta Ceron.
Fuck. Beta Ceron.
Beta Ceron.
Beta-Seron is not a medication. Beta-Seron is a robot from outer space. Beta-Seron is coming to Earth to enslave all members of the human race, and only one man can defeat Beta-Seron, and that man is the test subject for Factor 9 Complex.
What happened to Alpha-Seron?
Factor 9 Complex, the movie, coming soon to a theater near you, starring Chris Evans and Chris Pratt.
Nope.
Fuck,
man! You don't. I don't subscribe to that whole repeated joke thing. I know.
Call back.
Yeah. They called that, yeah.
Beta-Seron.
You wanted it too much, Colin.
You kind of want it.
So, Beta-Seron, for those of you who are interested, is a drug that treats treats for multiple sclerosis. It doesn't.
That is exactly what I said.
Probably said it more elegantly than me too, because I was a little bit mush mouth there at the end. So that means that James wins the game.
Wow! Boo!
Oh, man.
Boo! Boo!
Oh, man.
I
How
say
ridiculous
boo.
is that?
I was the only one that actually knew a drug.
That is true.
I knew
Aaron.
a drug.
Wait, no, James did know a drug.
I knew
Antidepressant.
Wellbutrin. Yep.
Yeah. Blah.
Wellbutrin. Doop-a-doop. Oh my god! Wow, I did not. I mean, I had a movie picked out, but I did not expect this.
You know what I love about this, James? Every time you win, you're like the fucking chick at the who wins the Miss America. I didn't expect this.
Well, I deserve this, guys. I was destined for greatness. So this is just a step on the road. This is just a step on the road to greatness. You know.
All right.
Okay, so I feel just the tiniest bit shitty about doing this, I guess.
Then don't.
We're gonna do another documentary.
Oh,
Yay!
What?
Yes, this one is called Lost Soul, and it is the most amazing documentary I've ever seen. And it's on Netflix, and I watched it like last week on a whim, and oh my fucking god, this is gonna be fun.
Okay.
So you guys want to know what this is about? Just a little bit?
Oh, I mean, my God. This was awesome.
John, read us the synopsis.
Yeah.
The synopsis. This revealing documentary chronicles the creative and financial debacle of director Richard Stanley and his fated 1996 film, The Island of Dr. Moreau. The one where Marlon Brando went complete apeshit on. I am totally on board.
And Val Kilmer went complete apeshit on.
Yeah, this is the movie where everyone went insane, right?
Yeah. Yes.
And I'm very excited about watching.
All right. Well, that sounds good, James. That sounds good.
This might be a tall order, but are we able to also watch The Island of Dr. Moreau?
Oh, yeah.
Purposes?
Oh, yeah.
Like, is that on Netflix?
I don't think it is. No, actually, I looked for it right after watching this documentary, and it's not.
Well, we should. Not necessarily on Netflix, but we should do our best to know the subject matter.
Yeah.
Yep.
Maybe pick a...
It might be better to watch... I don't know if it's better to watch before or after. I don't know.
I'll try to watch it before.
Okay.
I'll watch it after.
Okay.
Oh, okay, and this is not the 1977 one, which is...
No, this is the 1996 Val Kilmer... The fucking fucking disaster flick. All right, everybody, you have heard it here on John Hates Movies. Next week, we are going to be watching another documentary. Oh, we are on a roll, and it is called Lost Soul. By the way, anyone would have won that contest in that game instantly if they had done their ad in Spanish. That's all I'm saying. So, thank you very much, and we'll see you next week.
Yeah, when we watch Lost Soul, a movie about me losing one of my shoes.
Good night, everybody.
Perfect. A great big thank you to our staff graphic artist, Tabby Walters, the Weekly Cast, and our listeners. You can listen to our podcast on iTunes, the Stitcher app, through YouTube, or directly on our website. Feel free to send us a movie review suggestion. Every third episode is Listener Appreciation, where we choose from your suggestions. You can reach us through social media, either by liking our Facebook page, John Hates Movies YouTube channel, or following our Twitter at John Hates Movies. Our music was composed by Kevin MacLeod. You can find this track and many more on his website, Incompetech.com. Thanks for listening, and tune in next week to hear someone say...
Meth. Try it just this once.